most people fail because they treat influence as this technique of persuasion. Like it's a tool you wield.
Wrench or something.
Exactly, like an external tool rather than an internal state. They think, if I just say the magic words, the person will do what I want.
Right, which brings us to, I mean, if techniques aren't the answer, why on earth is there an entire billion-dollar industry built around them?
Well, because selling the illusion of control is incredibly profitable. So imagine you take the best salespeople in the world, right? You give them $1 million just to sit in a room and collaborate.
Okay.
And then you give them another $100 million to build the ultimate world's best sales script. The absolute pinnacle of persuasive language.
So a script so good, it's basically guaranteed to get a yes from anyone.
Exactly. But then, and here's the picker, you hand that perfect masterpiece of a script to someone who has severe social anxiety, or maybe someone who just has no control over their own reality.
They're insecure, they're sweating, they're doubting their right to even be in the room.
Yes. They walk in and read those exact, perfectly engineered words. And the result, it instantly becomes the worst script in the world.
It just completely falls flat.
It falls flat because human beings are biological lie detectors. If your internal state doesn't match the words coming out of your mouth, the listener's nervous system instantly flags it as danger.
It's like, okay, I was trying to visualize this earlier. It's like relying on a script without internal confidence is like trying to win a Formula One race by memorizing the manual, but you're sitting in a golf cart.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Right. I mean, you know all the theory. You know exactly when to brake, how to hit the curve. You have the instruction manual totally memorized, but you just don't have the engine for it.
You're in a golf cart.
Yeah. You press the pedal down and you max out at like 12 miles an hour.
Exactly. So think about it like this. You cannot give someone COVID by wrapping them in a heating pad, putting them in a heavy blanket, and squirting warm water in their nose.
Right, because that's just giving them a fake fever and a runny nose.
Exactly. Those just resemble the symptoms of COVID. They aren't the virus. And similarly, telling someone to, look people in the eye, have good posture, or wear a collared shirt like you're going to the country club.
Speak from the diaphragm.
Right, all of that. That is just giving them the symptoms of confidence, not actual confidence.
It's the heating pad.
It's the heating pad.
Yeah.
You're performing the symptoms, but you don't actually have the condition.
Man, that is so true. We just pile on these fake behaviors. But that makes me wonder, if words and scripts are essentially meaningless without actually owning yourself, then what does actual raw influence look like out in the real world?
Oh, it looks wild. It honestly looks like fiction.
Because there are a couple of real-world examples that are just mind-blowing.
Unbelievable examples.
So, okay, there's this one from 1951, a bank robbery in Denmark. A man walked into a bank, and he convinced the cashier to hand over every single dollar. But he didn't have a weapon.
No weapon at all.
And he didn't make any threats. He used just his voice. He literally hypnotized the teller.
And then there's the one from 2014, right? At the car dealership.
Yes. A manager handed over the keys to a brand new $50,000 SUV to a man who just calmly told him to do it. And the manager later said in an interview, he was like, it just felt like a dream.
He just handed it over.
I gotta push back on this, though. Wait, so is this just literal magic or like supernatural mind control? Because handing over a bank vault or an SUV just because someone asked you to, that sounds terrifying.
It sounds totally terrifying. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not magic. It's just human psychology taken to its absolute extreme.
Okay.
These people weren't using scripts. They were using command of reality.
Command of reality.
Yes. See, influence isn't about adjusting someone's behavior or using clever words. It's about controlling reality itself.
How does that actually work, though?
Well, when two people interact, they both bring their own reality, right? Their own certainty about what's normal and who's in charge. And when you command your reality with absolute zero-doubt certainty, your gravitational pull is massive.
And the other person just gets pulled in.
Exactly. The weaker, more insecure reality naturally falls into sync with the dominant one. The teller's brain basically said, this guy is so certain he's supposed to have this money, my reality must be wrong, I'll just adopt his.
Wow. So when you don't have that command, when you're doubting yourself, people just ignore you.
They ignore you completely.
Oh.
Because your reality isn't strong enough to pull them in.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because obviously our listeners want to know how to develop this command of reality, hopefully not to rob banks.
Hopefully not.
But, to be heard in a meeting. It all comes down to this psychological bottleneck of how we perceive other people.
The 5 lenses.
The 5 lenses of behavior. I want to break these down because this progression is fascinating. It shows how our perception literally dictates our power.
Let's do it.
So lens one is the bottom of the ladder. This is the lens that says people are broken.
Right. And in this lens, everything is viewed as a pathology.
Like everyone has something wrong with them.
Exactly. You're insecure, so you look for defects in other people to make yourself feel safe. It's totally reactive, and it leaves you powerless. You can't influence someone. You're just constantly judging from a place of fear.
That makes sense. So to escape that, people move to lens two, which is people are different.
The classic corporate trap.
Yes. Everything becomes a personality test, right? I'm an INTJ, you're an Enneagram 3. It's an ego battle.
It feels like understanding, but it's really just institutionalizing separation. You're putting people in boxes to protect your own ego. I'm this, you're that. You're just managing inventory, not commanding reality.
So then we step up to lens three, which is people are facts.
A much colder, data-driven approach.
Yeah, it's less emotional, so you don't get as angry at people's, their crap. You just view their behaviors merely as traits.
Right, you say, oh, they're exhibiting defensive posturing.
Mhm.
It removes the volatility, but it lacks the warmth needed for true influence.
Which naturally pushes people to try and find that warmth in lens four. People are reasons.
The holy grail of modern leadership advice.
Totally. This is where you profile behavior and you start seeing the wounded part, the fuel behind the crazy stuff people do.
Empathy, essentially.
Right. But wait, lens four sounds incredibly empathetic and advanced. Isn't that enough? I mean, shouldn't that be the goal?
You would think so. Even at level 4, you are still looking at humans as objects.
Really? Even with all that empathy?
Yes. You're the enlightened doctor analyzing the wounded patient.
Yeah.
Operating at this level isn't true influence. It is, quote, insecurity wearing a costume.
Oh, wow. Insecurity wearing a costume. That is ruthless.
It is. Because you're still using your analysis of them to keep yourself safe. You're still separate.
So the separation is the problem.
Exactly. Which is why you have to reach lens 5, the ultimate lens. People or reflections.
People are reflections.
Yes. Every single person you meet perfectly mirrors you. There is no separation. Their screwed-upness is your screwed-upness. Their brilliance is your brilliance.
Okay, so if a coworker is like screaming at me in a meeting, how is their screwed-upness mine?
Well, their overt aggression might be perfectly mirroring your own unexpressed defensiveness. Or maybe their desperate need to be heard is reflecting your own hidden imposter syndrome that you brought into the room.
So it's my internal state manifesting in their behavior.
Exactly. When you view them as a reflection, the friction just vanishes. You realize that to calm the room down, you first have to calm the tension within yourself.
So what does this all mean? If lens 5 is the goal, how do you, listening to this, actually get there without feeling completely overwhelmed by yet another self-improvement task?
That is the million-dollar question. Memorizing these 5 lenses won't help you even 1%.
I can't just put people or reflections on a sticky note.
No, it cannot just be trivia. It must become your everyday operating system and your actual worldview. Because until then, you are just a child doing silly card tricks.
A child doing silly card tricks. So we
Yeah.
have to fundamentally shift the worldview. But you don't have to learn a bunch of new tricks.
Yeah.
You don't have to, spend a week on a mountain in Tibet on a silent retreat, though. I mean, that might be cool. But you don't have to add more things. It's about stripping away, not adding.
This raises an important question, though. What does true confidence actually require?
If it's not adding symptoms.
Right. The answer is stripping things away. True confidence is simply about remembering who you are and letting go of all those insecurities.
Dropping the armor.
Yes. Stop adding layers of fake behaviors, fake postures, fake scripts. Once you reach that little mountaintop of internal clarity, wielding this reality-bending influence is 10 times easier than you think.
Because it's just natural.
It bleeds out of you without any effort at all. Your reality naturally envelops theirs.
Man, that is powerful. So let's bring this all back to you, the listener. If you are feeling unheard in a meeting or you're being ignored in your personal life, the fix is not tweaking your script.
No.
It's not trying to mimic the top salesperson's hand gestures.
Definitely not.
It's about looking inward. It's about changing your lens to actually see others as reflections and commanding your own reality by dropping the fake stuff.